Poor girl tells CEO, "If I make your son talk, will you give me leftovers?" He laughs. The boy speaks. The moment the little girl lifted her thin hand and pointed toward the silent boy sitting across the white tablecloth, something invisible cracked in the air, because hunger had a way of stripping pride bare, and hope had a way of daring the impossible. Outside a grand restaurant glowing with soft lights and polished glass, a poor girl in a faded red dress stood barefoot on cold stone, her stomach empty but her eyes burning with purpose, while a powerful CEO sat unaware that his neatly ordered world was about to be shaken by the smallest voice he had ever ignored. Before this story pulls you deeper into its turning point, take a second to pause. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human connection, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness, because every small action creates a wave that reaches farther than we imagine. The girl's name was Lena, though no one at the restaurant knew it, and fewer still cared. She lived with her sick grandmother in a single-room shelter near the railway tracks, where nights were loud and mornings were uncertain. Every day, Lena walked the streets collecting scraps, watching people eat meals that smelled like comfort and safety, learning early that hunger was not just an empty stomach, but an ache that settled into the bones. That evening, she had not eaten since the day before, and her grandmother's cough echoed in her mind as she watched plates being served and cleared, untouched food carried away like it never mattered. At the center table sat the CEO, a man used to command and silence, dressed in a tailored suit that reflected control. Beside him sat his son, a pale boy with careful hands and distant eyes, a child known in boardrooms and charity galas as the CEO's silent son. Doctors had called it a condition, specialists had called it complex, and his father had learned to call it fate. The boy did not speak, did not react, and did not meet eyes, and over time the father's hope had hardened into acceptance mixed with quiet grief he never named. Lena had seen the boy before, not up close, but enough to notice how his eyes followed people instead of plates, how his fingers trembled when noises grew sharp, how silence wrapped around him like a wall. Children recognized things adults forgot, and Lena felt something familiar in him, something like being unseen while surrounded by abundance. Hunger pushed her forward, but empathy made her brave. She stepped closer to the table, ignored by waiters trained to look through children like her, and made her bold request in a voice steady despite the fear pounding her chest. She did not ask for money. She did not beg. She offered something instead, something that sounded foolish enough to make powerful people smile. The CEO laughed not cruelly, but with disbelief sharpened by exhaustion. He had heard promises before, false hopes wrapped in expert words, and this was a child with dirt on her knees and hope in her eyes. Still, perhaps out of amusement, perhaps out of pity, he allowed her a moment, assuming silence would remain silence. Lena did not touch the boy. She did not perform tricks or speak loudly. She simply sat on the ground near him, lowered herself to his level, and pulled a small, broken toy from her pocket, one she had found months ago and fixed with string. She began to play quietly, rolling it back and forth, letting it stop near the boy's shoe, then pulling it back slowly again and again, patient as time itself. Minutes passed, the restaurant noise softened. The boy's fingers twitched. His eyes shifted downward, then followed the movement. Lena smiled not at him, but at the toy, as if it were enough to be there together in that small space of shared attention. Hunger faded from her mind, replaced by focus, by connection. Something changed when the boy reached out. At first, it was barely noticeable, a small movement of curiosity, but then his hand closed around the toy. The room seemed to hold its breath. Lena waited, her heart racing, knowing that pushing would break the fragile bridge forming between them. She rolled the toy again gently, inviting without demanding. And then it happened. A sound, small and untrained, slipped out of the boy, not clear, not polished, but alive. A word, or something close to it, born not from pressure but from safety. The CEO froze. Plates stopped clinking. A father who had trained himself not to hope felt something tear open in his chest. The boy made another sound, stronger this time, his eyes lifting, his voice shaky but real. The silence that had defined him cracked, and with it cracked the man who had built empires but failed to build this bridge himself. Tears blurred the CEO vision as years of restraint collapsed into disbelief and gratitude. Alina did not celebrate. She simply stood, waiting, her stomach reminding her why she had come. The CEO, shaken and humbled, ordered more food than the table could hold, placing it before her with hands that trembled. But something deeper had shifted. This was no longer about leftovers. In the days that followed, Lena's life changed in ways she never imagined. The CEO ensured her grandmother received proper medical care. Alina was enrolled in school, given clothes that fit, and a room that was warm. But more importantly, she was not treated as a miracle worker or a charity case. She was treated as a child who mattered. The boy continued to speak, slowly, carefully, his progress guided by patience rather than pressure. Often, it was Lena who sat beside him, not as a therapist, but as a friend who knew what it meant to be quiet in a loud world. The CEO learned something no business success had taught him, that connection could not be bought, only earned through humility and listening. As this story reaches its final moments, if it has touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you that kindness can come from the most unexpected places, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness, because stories like this deserve to travel far. Before the ending, we have a special request. Please comment below with one word that describes how this story made you feel. Your words matter more than you know. The poor girl who asked for leftovers did not just change a boy's life. She changed a father's heart and reminded a world obsessed with power that the smallest acts of kindness can unlock the deepest silences. And if this story moved you, please engage with this video, because every like, every comment, every share helps keep stories of hope alive, creating ripples that reach those who need them most.